Hello everyone. My name is Azman Abdurrahman. I am a safety consultant and trainer from Dynamic Concept. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This presentation provides in-depth analysis of the commonly used terms in safety management, that is hazard and risk. The presentation will advance by itself. All you have to do is watch and listen. You can leave any question and comments below. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to understand the concept of hazard, exposure, risk, and accident, and how they are interrelated with each other. Also, you will learn how to apply this concept in the risk assessment technique. You can use this technique to assess risk in your daily life activities and, most important, at your workplace. Before I go any further, it is better we understand the fundamental concept in safety, or better known as safety equation. The first element in safety equation is hazard. There are many types of hazards surrounding us. Some of them are machine, tools and equipment, vehicles, chemicals, animals, and so on. The next element is exposure. There must be someone or something exposed to the hazard, only then the risk exists. The third element is risk. Risk of exposure is classified into three levels: low risk, medium risk, and high risk. And the last element is accident. Accident is an event that results from uncontrolled risk. Accident can have negative impact on humans, property, and environments. My presentation will focus on the human impact only. Every second in our lives, we are exposed to all kinds of hazards, whether you are at home, during sports, doing outdoors activities, on road, at work, and so on. Most of these hazards may result in an accident. Whenever there is hazard, there is always a risk of getting an accident. Accident may result in negative impact to human and others. So what are hazard and risk? Let's take a look at the definition of some of the keywords that we have used just now. Hazard is defined as anything with the potential to cause harm. Risk is defined as the likelihood that the hazard will cause harm to someone. When you do a risk assessment, you will analyze factors that determine the likelihood of an accident. The word harm is a result of an accident. Harm can be to human, property, and environment. Accident is an unplanned and unexpected event that result in personal injury or property damage. The best model to describe how an accident happened is Heinrich's domino theory. The theory stated that accidents result from a chain of events, same as a line of dominoes falling over. To understand the connection between hazard, risk, and accident, let's take a look at this example. A hole in the middle of a walkway is a hazard. Walking near the hole is a risk. Anyone can fall into the hole and get an accident. The accident will result in injury. Injury can be minor or major. Every moment in our life, we analyze risk in every decision we make. Every action we take involves some level of risk, from a simple decision of what food to eat to a more complicated decision such as buying a house. If the risk is higher than the benefits we will gain, we will avoid the action or take steps to reduce the risk. If the risk is lower than the benefits, we will proceed with the action. We cannot totally eliminate risk. What we can do is to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. This is an example of decision we make in our life. Imagine you are driving a car and decide to overtake a lorry in front of you. The risk is, of course, you will get an accident. There are some risk factors you have to consider in order to overtake the lorry safely. First is the speed of the lorry. Second, speed of the car coming from opposite directions. Third, distance from the car to the point of impact, the point where your car will collide with the other car. If you decide to proceed with the overtake, you will have to estimate what is the speed you need in order to overtake the lorry safely. This is called calculated risk. That is a chance of failure, the probability of which is estimated before some action is undertaken. In this case, failure will result in an accident. Let's take another example. This is a scene at the bus stop. A moving bus on the road is a hazard. Waiting for the bus at the roadside is a risk. Suppose there are 4 persons waiting for the bus. The risks posed to the bus are possible inhale toxic smoke, noise from the engines, and getting hit. For the case, we will assess the risk of getting hit by the moving bus. The person standing just beside the roadside, the risk of getting hit by the bus is high. For the 2 persons waiting at the bus stop, behind a metal barricade, the risk is medium. And the last person sitting far at the coffee shop, where the possibility of getting hit is very low, so the risk is low, or we can call it negligible risk. From here, we can conclude that distance from the source of the hazard and protection against the hazard will determine the level of risk. In this example, we will further analyze the risk and apply the risk assessment concept. Let's say you are driving on a road in the morning and sunny day where the road is dry and your vision is clear and not many vehicles using the road. So we can say that the likelihood of getting an accident is medium. Now let's change the situations. And this time, you are driving in the middle of the night during heavy rains where the road is wet and slippery and your vision is blurry. In this case, the likelihood of getting an accident is high. So what determines the likelihood of an accident? Likelihood is defined as the chance of an event actually occurring. There are a number of factors that influence the likelihood of an accident. Taking the same example, the factors are car condition, is it good or bad? Road condition, is it slippery or dry? Driver condition, does he feel sleepy or fresh? Visibility, is it blurry or clear? Now, let's assume an accident occurs where the car hit a tree. So, what is the expected severity of the accident? Severity is a measure of the expected severity should an accident occur. The severity of the accident depends upon car speed, is it fast or slow? Seatbelt, does the driver fasten or not? Airbag, is it functioning or not? By taking into consideration all these factors, we can determine the likelihood and severity of the accident. Risk assessment at workplace is more complicated because it involves the use of dangerous machinery, equipments, tools, and also hazardous materials. The first step is you should identify all the hazard that exists in your workplace. Remember, hazard is anything that can cause harm. You should identify as many hazards as possible. Failure to do this will cause an accident. This is an easy part. Now comes the difficult part. After all the hazard has been identified, the next step is to assess the risk for each identified hazard. When assessing the risk, several factors need to be considered. They are intensity of the hazard, how hard the hazard occurs. For example, what is the weight of the object the worker have to carry? Is it heavy or light? Frequency of the hazard. Is it occur continuously or intermittent? For example, every 5 seconds, every 10 minutes, every 1 hour, and so on. Duration of exposure. How many hours the worker is exposed to the hazard? Distance from the source of the hazard. Is it far or near? And the last one is number of affected workers. Besides the workers exposed directly to the hazard, is there any other workers exposed to the same hazard? In this session, we will apply the concept of hazard, risk, and exposure to the risk assessment technique. For this, I will take an example of a manufacturing process. One operator is operating a stamping machine, 3 operators at the assembly line, and 2 operators doing packing works. We will do the assessment for the stamping machine. Risks identified for the machine are: first, hand caught between moving objects. Likelihood of the hands entering dangerous part of the machine is low as the machine is equipped with safety sensor. Second, is sitting for a long period of time. Likelihood of getting musculoskeletal disorder or MSD is high because the operator is sitting for 8 hours. The third risk is noise from the stamping process. Because sound energy can spread over a wide area, it can affect nearby workers. However, as it travels further, it will lose its energy and sound intensity will reduce. That means the closer the workers from the source of the noise, the higher the risk of hearing loss. Even though the workers exposed to high noise of 92 decibel and work for 8 hours, the noise hazard is at medium risk because the operator is wearing a hearing protector. Proper use of hearing protector can reduce high noise from entering the ear. This is just a basic step in conducting risk assessment. Later, I will give a separate lecture on how to conduct a more structured assessment by using hierarchy tools. See you again.